The unwanted storm. Inside the mind of intermittent explosive disorder. Welcome to RSA. Tonight, we plunge into the deepest, most terrifying question of the human condition. What happens when the one thing we rely on, our self-control, vanishes in an instant? We are used to thinking of sudden rage as a choice, a simple character flaw, or just a bad temper. But for millions of people worldwide, that blinding, destructive explosion is a clinical reality, a neurological malfunction known as intermittent explosive disorder. In this feature, The Unwanted Storm, we go beyond the noise and the wreckage to examine the broken circuitry of the brain, the dangerous imbalances of serotonin and dopamine, and the shadows of childhood trauma that lay the foundation for a lifetime of overwhelming regret. The air is thin, everything is too loud, the coffee spilled, it's nothing. But my chest is tightening, my hands are numb. The feeling starts low, like cold water rising in my stomach. It's not just anger, it's a frantic electrical surge. I know what's coming. I see the look on their faces, the fear I'm about to cause. Don't do it, not here, not now. But the other voice, the loud one, the one that guarantees temporary, destructive silence, it just says, break it. If the reaction is a 10, but the stimulus is a 2, we are no longer discussing emotion. We are discussing a malfunction. ACT1. The anatomy of an explosion. This is not simply a temper. This is a storm that arrives with no warning, and its destruction is always disproportionate to the match that lit it. Expert interview. Quote Dr. Azar regarding the behavior being an unacceptable and uncontrolled reaction. The attack doesn't start in the scream, it starts in the body. It's a rapid-fire physical betrayal. Before the words leave your mouth, your heart rate spikes, palpitations, pounding against the ribs. A white-hot tension wraps around your chest. Then comes the nerve storm, a subtle, terrifying tingling sensation in the extremities, a metallic taste. The frontal lobe, the part that says, wait, think, consequences, is already offline. You are physically locked into a chemical reaction that is preparing you for battle over a dirty dish. Expert interview. Clinical psychologist, clearly delineate IED from other anger-related issues. IED versus normal anger. Normal anger has a goal, e.g., solving a problem. IED is purely destructive and impulsive. IED versus borderline personality disorder, BPD. BPD anger is often manipulative or fear-driven. IED is typically explosive, short-lived, under 30 minutes, and immediately followed by remorse, without the constant background mood instability of BPD. The diagnosis demands recurrence, twice a week for 3 months, or 3 major attacks in a year. This is a pattern, a path carved into the mind that the afflicted cannot escape alone. ACT2. The wiring of the storm. Focus. Validating IED as a medical condition by exploring the neurological and biochemical malfunctions. Use sleek, high-end motion graphics. Expert interview. Neuroscientist, psychiatrist. Use MRI evidence and research, Science Direct 2016. To explain why the amygdala in IED sufferers is hyperactive. It interprets a minor inconvenience as a life-threatening crisis, launching the body into full fight or flight mode. The chemical brake failure. Deep inside the network, the safety systems are failing. The amygdala, the survival core, is hypersensitive, sounding the nuclear alarm for a paper cut. Normally, the neurotransmitter serotonin acts as the crucial brake line, modulating that extreme response. But in IED, serotonin levels are insufficient. The rage accelerates. Compounding this, the reward chemical, dopamine, is unbalanced. As the impulsive aggression takes over, there's a perverse surge of temporary reward. The action itself feels momentarily relieving, even though the consequences are catastrophic. The brakes are gone, and the accelerator is tied down by faulty reward circuitry. ACT3. The ghost of the past. The causes. The greatest predictor of future explosive anger is a past filled with unpredictability. The brain learns that the world is a dangerous place. It creates a reflex, a learned mechanism to launch into fury before the threat even fully forms. This is not about being born angry, it's about being taught violence. Expert interview. Dr. Azar are similar. Emphasize the example of a child in a home environment of constant verbal abuse or scolding. The environment models the explosive behavior, making it the default reaction. The trauma primes the brain, and the environment provides the blueprint. ACT4. The ripple effect and the lifeline, consequences and treatment, collateral damage, health, law, and isolation. The bursts of fury are a public health risk. The long-term stress accelerates heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. The legal risk is immense. But perhaps the greatest cost is the silence that follows, as loved ones inevitably keep their distance. The wounded circle. Advice for families. Focus on a powerful testimonial from a family member who chose to stay and learn to cope, stressing the importance of monitoring and documentation. Expert advice. Deliver clear, essential guidance for relatives. Don't blame the person, don't ask them to calm down, as it often exacerbates the anger, and prioritize consulting a specialist. The path to control. Expanded treatment is a disciplined process of rebuilding the circuitry. It's not just talking, it's training. Cognitive behavioral therapy teaches the patient to intercept the thoughts that hijack the emotion, replacing the impulse with a distraction technique or a timeout. The central tool is the thought record, identifying the trigger, scrutinizing the irrational thought, "They did this to provoke me," and consciously replacing it with a measured, factual assessment. This is done through structured breathing, planned timeouts, and mindfulness techniques that re-engage the rational brain. When the storm is too frequent or too severe, medication, targeted antidepressants to raise the serotonin brake and mood stabilizers to calm the overall neuroexcitability, creates an essential chemical buffer, ensuring the system doesn't short-circuit before the therapy can take hold. Conclusion. The greatest discovery we make about the mind is that its faults are not moral failures. They are treatable conditions. If you recognize this storm in yourself or someone you love, the greatest act of courage is not fighting the rage, it is finding the help. The unwanted storm is fierce, but the human will to heal is stronger. List mental health resources. Final CTA. Like this video if you believe awareness can save lives, and subscribe to join the conversation. Fade out.